So I wanted to do something a little different today because I always come on here and share lessons with you all about why communication is important, why we need to work on improving our communication in our relationships, why relationships are important, so on and so forth. And for the most part, I think you all get it. And even though it is a challenge, many of you are still willing to learn how to do it better. And that's why I appreciate each and every one of you who show up for my lives, listen to the replays, watch my uploads, and comment on the things you like or the things that resonated for you. But today, I just wanted to share with you how words became so important to me and ultimately how I fell in love with the power of word. So if you have a moment, stick around with me over the next few minutes and I'll tell you some things that you might be interested to know. Hi, welcome to You Can Talk. I'm Ruth Finney, and this is a channel solely dedicated to helping you talk your way to healthier relationships. Whether you're married or dating, or if you're struggling to communicate with family or friends or people you work with, then this is the channel that will help you experience some real change. If you're willing to put some simple principles into practice, become a talker, subscribe to You Can Talk, and check out my tips, lessons, and classes on weekday mornings at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time, or come chat with me on my Talk to Ruth live sessions held on Saturday nights from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Walk with me through the user's manual as we discover some revelations in communication that you can incorporate into your life so that you can talk your way to healthier relationships. So I can't tell you the exact moment I fell in love with words. I think it was just so much exposure to them over a period of time. I've always been very sensitive to them, even as a little girl. I'd hear someone say, "Oh, she's so cute," and I felt noticed. Or they'd say, "She's so big. How old is she?" And I felt so abnormal. My mother would often say to me, "I love you," and I felt like the most important thing in her life. And my grandmother would say, "Child, you just don't know how blessed you are." And even though at the time I didn't understand it, the way she said it just made me feel so special. But at the same time, my second grade teacher would tell me not to touch her because she didn't like having a little black girl in her classroom. And it made me feel so small, so unimportant, and so less than. Words have impacted me all my life. I found they tend to stick around long after the person who spoke them was gone. And whether they were kind words or mean words or hateful words or loving words, if I didn't deal with them accordingly, they would headline themselves into my thoughts. They would characterize themselves into my dreams, and they would manifest themselves all throughout my life. So I guess you could say I learned real early the power of words and how careful we have to be with them. I was an avid reader when I was a kid. I loved books. I used to beg my mom to order every book in our little Scholastic magazine because I was so fascinated by what was in them. And even though they were just black words written on white pieces of paper, I realized they could transport me to anywhere in the world or into anybody's life from one sentence to the next. And from one page to the next, words could take me from boredom to excitement, from feeling encaged to liberation, or from feeling sadness to belly-busting laughter. And because I had such a vivid imagination, it was easy for my mind to paint the pictures and for me to transport myself right into the scenes of the story. It was amazing to me that words could allow me to be so adventurous in a world full of rules. I found that no matter my circumstances, words freed me to be limitless in my thoughts. But then I got older, and my education and my friends and my sports activities became more important than my pleasure reading. My head was less into books and more into people. And I found people to be more fascinating than books. Their accents, their slangs, how their cultural backgrounds affected their word choices, and the emotions that they put behind the words. It just drew me in. I could sit and listen to people all day because of their words and how they use them. It just said so much about them. As careful as sometimes as we think we're being, our words are so revealing of our character. You can learn a lot about a person by just listening, not even engaging in conversation, just listening. Then, as a young adult, I had the opportunity to travel the country and move around a little bit around the world, meeting different kinds of people, being exposed to different cultures, and hearing the different ways that people interact with each other. And more, my eyes and ears were open to the power of words. And I'm not just talking about the interactions we see on TV. I'm talking about our everyday, real life experiences. And I began to notice how a mother would speak to her child and say, "It's okay. You can do it. Don't be scared." And the child felt empowered. But another mother could say, "Get over here and quit being so stupid. You get on my nerves. I'll be glad when so-and-so comes to pick you up." And the child puts their head down. You see the sadness come over them, and instantly they're made to feel less than. Or I could be prepping for a meeting or a presentation, and someone would come to me and say, "In there is a room full of the military's highest brass. Make sure you address them as this and don't say anything like that." And suddenly all the contents in my stomach would drop down into my lower intestines. And well, you know what happens next, right? We're taking a quick break before we even get started. But then the very same day, those people would come up to me and say, "You are amazing. You did a phenomenal job in there. Who are you? Where are you from?" And suddenly I felt proud, courageous, and capable of facing any challenge that comes my way. We all know that the Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue. And we know that that means that we can speak life, right? Meaning speaking words that liberate, empower, encourage, comfort, and love on a person so that their spirit is uplifted and they become their best selves. Or we can do just the opposite and speak death, meaning we can demean, belittle, discourage, incarcerate, or pour seeds of hatred into their spirit so that they never reach their highest potential or live out their purpose. But let's look just a little bit deeper at the why these simple little things called words carry this kind of power. In our user's manual in John chapter 1, verses 1 through 5, it tells us that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, meaning separate from God, and the Word was God, meaning God is Word. And all things were made through him, meaning all things were made through the power of word. And without him, nothing was made. So without word, there would be nothing. And we know this because he created the heavens and the earth through word. He simply said all throughout Genesis chapter 1, "Let there be." And suddenly there was. He said, "Let there be light and let there be water. Let there be land and air, and let there be vegetation and living creatures above the earth and in the sea." And finally, he said, "Let us make man in our own image." And he made us in the very image of himself. And verse 5 in John chapter 1 says, "In him was life." So in the word was life, and the life was the light of all men, meaning he is the light within us all. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. This has to be one of the most powerful scriptures in our user's manual. He is literally telling us that because he is the light that lives within us, we are the vessels that hold the power to cast out all darkness, because the darkness does not comprehend the power of his light. So how do we do that? So how do we, as his vessels of light, use the power of words to cast out the darkness in our lives and in the lives of others? Well, through his word. His word that lives within each and every one of us. And he tells us how to use it through the user's manual he left here for us. His words are our instructions. And the more we acquaint ourselves with them, the more powerful they become for us. That is why in Psalms chapter 119, verses 105, it says, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." His word is literally helping us navigate our way through the darkness of this world. Or in Psalms chapter 23, we can say, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." And therefore we have nothing to fear, because he who has overcome the darkness of even death itself lives within us. So then let's jump down to 1 John chapter 1, verse 14. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Jesus was God's word manifested here on earth for our visibility in his glory, so that we could see in the flesh the power of his word. Therefore, yes, we have the power to manifest word into our life because he shows us through the birth of Christ that everything is possible through the power of his word, and through his death, burial, and resurrection, that for us, nothing is impossible. So that which you speak has the power to manifest itself into life. And that which you speak has the power to cast out darkness from your own life and from the life of others. You are the light, and you hold the light within the power of your tongue. Keep it coated in his word and let it shine for his glory, so that all who hears them will fall in love with the power of word. If you can relate to any or all of these communication struggles and are tired of the seemingly endless cycle of communication barriers that are keeping you from the relationships that you desire to have with others, then become a talker. Subscribe to You Can Talk. Select that notification bell down below and meet me here on weekday mornings at 5 a.m. for my talk tips, lessons, and classes. Or come chat with me over on my Saturday night Talk to Ruth live sessions from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks for watching, and if you would, please hit that like button, leave a comment below, and know that whatever you're committed to working on, I'm rooting for you and praying for you, because you can tame the tongue, approach with compassion, listen deeply, knock down the barriers, and talk your way to healthier relationships. Let your communication be the light of God's love the world so desperately needs to hear.